complex topic. I came away with data and with perceptions from the community that one of the things that we can do, and I think that this is a sound approach, is to establish a better infrastructure of bus routes. Now, two things that Legislator Rhino mentioned. One was that there's no bus routes going to Alden, and it's a reason not to put a holding center out in Alden. At the same time, she also said there's jobs in Alden. And when there are jobs that are available to our community, we absolutely have to think about how we help people get there. I met with someone yesterday and talked to them about this infrastructure issue with respect to transportation. And I spoke to an impassioned community member who absolutely is having difficulty with the bus routes within our community. She's a single mom and she is trying to get to work. So I guess what I would say is if the county legislature is funding the NFTA with over $40 million in funds, why has the county legislature not done a more effective job trying to advocate for our community in such a way that the transportation system that we're paying for is actually truly and authentically meeting the needs of the residents? And I guess that summarizes my comments. Thank you.
We've reached our last question. After this question, we'll have our closing statements. And it will be Ms. Coyle-Lenz. You'll be the first to answer this question. Ranked choice voting, in ranked choice voting, voters rank candidates for office in the order of their preference. The tally assures that one candidate has a majority of the votes cast to be elected. How do you think having ranked choice voting for Erie County elections would or would not benefit the residents?
Thank you. I think that ranked choice voting could hurt the residents because it would create almost so much chaos. If you think about the election that we witnessed this year, and I'm going to use this, what was transpiring in Buffalo, the city of Buffalo, we have a system now that provides for a primary in which the primary candidates, they step up and they campaign, and they're able to make their case, and they make their case to the community. There's the idea of how an individual wins that and then goes on to the final is certainly, certainly part of the system that we have. I think with ranked choice voting, I'm not 100% certain, I will acknowledge this, on whether that would eliminate the primary system or how that would come into play. However, I think that the system that we have now, it works well, and I believe that the residents are accustomed to the system as it operates. From things that I've read about ranked choice voting in other areas, it's created a lot of complications and it's created a need for runoff elections, and it's just not something that has been necessarily the most egalitarian approach to the system. I guess the ways that we've opened up elections has been helpful. We've moved the primaries to earlier in the year, so they're in June, so there's a longer campaign season with that, which certainly determines how one proceeds toward the fall. But what we have to keep in mind is that individuals have a cognitive load. They have a cognitive load limit, and when you have the primary, you're asking individuals to consume a certain amount of content and research the candidates and engage with all of their backgrounds. And with that, then moving forward, they're able to do so. And then when it comes to the, to the final election in November, they have the, opportunity to then converge to a primary level at which they will make their final vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 4 kids, and my one son's getting a PhD in math. So a few years ago, my 2 sons and I went to the National Math Conference to see if he would want that thing. And there I learned so much about ranked voting. And there I learned so much about gerrymandering on the math side of it. And the thing is that for our election, it doesn't matter. We have 2 people running. So this ranked voting is you either vote one or the other. Ranked voting, though, does have a really good idea in big, huge primaries for presidential elections, for example, so that the final result is the majority. It will make it so that when we have like this country with all these extremes, that the moderates don't get as much vote, that when a small number of people get to vote for one person, where the primary is never by 50% of the voters. as we've had here. It was never by 50% of the voters recently, so that ranked voting gives it so that you get a more feel of the real feeling, not just extremes. If you have to vote among 10 people, and then the extremes sometimes win out rather than people really looking at the best candidate. But for us, for this election, for the two of us, you have two, good candidates, in my opinion, and they have, you vote rank voting, one or the other of these two.
Thank you both for those answers. Just as a point of fact, ranked choice voting would not eliminate the primary, and there's more information on ranked choice voting available at the League of Women Voters Buffalo Niagara website. Closing statements, we're going to begin with Ms. Vinyl.
I'm asking for your vote, and you can vote starting next Saturday, early elections by mail-in or on election day. And the reason why I'm asking your vote is that I do believe I'm the better candidate, and I think that the next few years are going to be exciting years for Erie County, and there's a lot of potential and there's a lot of pitfalls. And that I am willing to fight for this community and to make sure that that we get our fair share, and to make sure that we're thinking about the future as far as making it affordable. The thing about Amherst is that people in Amherst do love Amherst. People in Western New York do love Buffalo, Western New York, and we love it because it's for all the reasons that we talked about as far as the generosity, the Four Seasons, everything. And we love it because of the great schools. We love it for so many reasons, the housing, the opportunities. I met somebody who moved here just a few months ago, and she's loving Buffalo. And so it's a place where it's growing now, and it's coming. And so I want to be a part of that and help that. But at the same time, I'm really good at, if one person needs help on one issue, that they can reach out to me, and I will help fight through the government red tape and to make sure that anything that can be done is done for the person. And I do think that now we're going to have these issues because of the federal changes in in what is going to be coming down the pike. The county, the budget came out yesterday from the county, and there's a great video that goes through a whole big overview of it. But next year, there's going to be a change because when they increase the premiums on health insurance and when they decrease federal things, it affects more states here. It's not the same all over the country. Certain parts of the country, like New York, we pick up the difference if the federal government doesn't. Whereas other states, they're just going to be, if you look, there's a beautiful map on this. You can see it right now yourself. But there's going to be a lot of challenges and a lot of things where people are going to have to talk about big ideas and some changes. And I want to be your friend in government individually and your advocate for our area in the county legislature.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe that I am the right choice for your Erie County Legislature vote. And the reason that I feel that way is a few, and I will highlight them for you. Today, our polling cards indicated that in 2 years, we're going to have to break the tax cap and raise the total amount of taxes collected by 11% if things don't change. I live in Amherst. Most of you live in Amherst, maybe all of you, and we lived through an 11.4% tax increase. The county is on an unsustainable spending trajectory. In the last 10 years, spending has increased by 41%. And this 41% increase in spending is something that while we're talking about tax rates going down, we're talking about spending going up. And I think we all understand and know that a tax rate is actually based upon an assessment of a home. And we have all watched as housing has actually become much more valuable. And with the increase in housing values, assessments are going up. And when assessments go up, then the tax rate goes down. So that to me is a really major issue. In addition to that, government transparency is something that I am absolutely 100% committed to, and it's making sure, as I said, that I'm out in the community and I'm connecting with everyone. My background really prepares me for this, and when I talk to you about my background, it is that I am a leadership practitioner. And as a leadership practitioner, it is very natural for me to step into this space and do what I do and serve the individuals that I will serve as your Erie County legislator. So what that means is that I will lead with heart, I will lead with integrity, I will lead with spirit, and I will lead with soul. Thank you very much.
Thank you for a very informative conversation, and we have some wonderful options for District 5. Thank you, ladies. I'm going to invite up Mr. Davis, Ms. Dormer, and Mr. Trigger. Mr. Davis will be in seat 1, Mr. Traber in seat 2. Thank you, Mr. Wendell. As a side note, I'd like to make a correction on a prior announcement. Mr. Kavanaugh is not present today. It's our understanding that he had an out-of-town work conference. I do apologize about the incorrect script. We will begin with an opening statement. We're going to go right down the line. We will be rotating a question, the order of answering questions as we did with the prior candidates. Mr. Davis, you'll begin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Davis. I am an electrical engineer by degree. I work for Wendell Energy Services here in Williamsville. I'm a senior energy project manager. I have a family. I have 3 children. My son is a Buffalo State finance major. I have a daughter in middle school, and I have a daughter in elementary school in the Williamsville School District. While I was a parent, I received my Master of Business Administration from Canisius, and I've also pursued my PhD in Business Analytics, and I'm all but dissertation towards that PhD. This is my first time running for public office, but I have ran for elected positions before. I successfully was elected to be president of the Society of American Military Engineer Buffalo Post, and also as secretary and now treasurer of the American Council of Engineering Companies. I've been an engineer for 20 years. I have about 15 years experience working on municipal infrastructure projects all across Western New York and Central New York and across the nation. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be your endorsed Democratic candidate for Amherst Town Board. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is John Traber and I'm running for the Amherst Town Board. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for the invitation to this morning's event. I was born and raised in Eggertsville. I'm one of 8 children. I have 6 sisters and 1 brother. I attended the Amherst schools. I've lived in this town my entire life. I've been married to my wife Maura for 34 years, and together we raised 4 daughters here. The majority of my working life was spent in law enforcement. I worked 3 years as a patrolman with the Buffalo Police Department, and then spent 27 years with the Amherst Police Department, retiring as a detective sergeant in 2019. I served in the United States Marine Corps Reserve for 10 years from 1982 to 1992. I became interested in town politics about 3 years ago when I started attending town board meetings. I started paying attention to the overspending and what I considered lack of accountability to the taxpayers. The more I learned, the more I wanted to get involved. I decided to seek a position on the town board. This is my first time running for any political office. I'm not running out of self-interest. I'm running in the interest of the taxpayers. I think everyone wants to be treated with dignity and respect. I also believe that no matter what party you are affiliated with, you would want your local politicians to use your resources wisely. People lead busy lives, and they should not have to worry about whether their local officials are mismanaging their tax dollars or not. They should be confident that they are doing what they are elected to do, and that is to provide essential services efficiently and effectively. This is a large town, 52 square miles, with a population of roughly 131,000 people and a budget of $176 million. I will treat this position as a full-time job and make myself accessible to address the needs of the residents. I will be able to do this because I am fully retired. I am beholden to no one except the citizens of this town.
I think I have. Thanks. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. I just want to thank the League of Women Voters for having this event and giving us the opportunity to come in front of this audience and answer your questions. My name is Mary Dormer, and I am running for the Amherst Town Board. I am an endorsed candidate of the Republican and Conservative Committee, and I just want to say that is an incredible opportunity to be here. I'm an administrator at Damon University. I have my master's in leadership and innovation, and I am an adjunct professor at Damon as well. My background is that I graduated from UB with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Public Relations. And I also started in my first professional position. I worked for AmeriCorps, and then I worked for Buffalo Place Incorporated downtown. It's a business improvement organization, and I got a real good feel for the idea of serving our downtown constituents. And so when I moved to Amherst 25 years ago, I moved into this beautiful community. I was married, and we raised our 5 children here, and I understood the importance of our neighbors, our community, and my background, and how I could integrate what I've done to serve my neighbors. And we did that when my children were young in the Amherst youth sports at my local parish at St. Gregory the Great. And the desire to serve is something I've always had. I was my junior class president, so I've always had this in my blood. So now that my children are older and I have this opportunity to do this, I feel it's a very important step to take, because I feel that Amherst residents have not been heard. And our local administration has done an injustice in not listening to our residents. So I want to use my voice to advocate for our residents, and I believe that I can do that as a town council member. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question is going to begin with Mr. Traber. Supervisor Culpa has said the town has no control over the proposed expansion of the rapid transit, but can advocate or exert influence regarding it. Would you do that? Would you be for or against it?
I am opposed to the rapid rail extension. I think, I'll expand upon that. I think we have a marvelous bus service, as Ms. Vinyl had mentioned earlier, and I don't think there's a big call for that. And whenever the government is, supposedly this is a $2 billion project. And when somebody says it's going to be a $2 billion project and the federal government is going to provide the funds, you can pretty much count on the budget going up a little bit. So there would probably be a $3 to $4 million budget. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Again, I am opposed to it. I think it's a little bit late. And I think we have a marvelous bus service. It's very dependable. It serves a lot of people. And I think we should stick with that.
Ms. Dormer?
Could you please repeat the question?
Supervisor Culpa has said the town has no control over the proposed expansion of rapid transit, but can advocate or exert influence regarding it. Would you do that? Would you be for or against it?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. So I, too, would be against it. I think this conversation is 25 years too late. I do not believe that a light rail tearing up Niagara Falls Boulevard and going down Maple Road is something that is in the best interest of our Amherst residents. I think they've expressed that. I know at the meeting at Sweet Home, it was very clear that Amherst doesn't believe that that's in the best interest of our town. I think it would be absolutely a bigger investment of more money, more than probably, like John just mentioned, more than $2 billion, pushing $4 billion dollar figures. So I do not support that, and I would not advocate for the light rail going through Amherst.
So for the light rail, I know that it's going to take north of $2 billion from the federal government. I don't believe that the current administration is interested in giving that type of money to any town in upstate New York. But whether or not I'm for it, I am for it. I think it's a good idea. I know that we have 130,000 residents in Amherst. 50,000 people travel to Amherst to work, to take care of loved ones, to play. I believe it'll cut down traffic. Transit-oriented development is not shown to increase crime. It is shown to increase property value. And I know that's not a popular stance in this room. A lot of younger people want the transit. They want to go from UB and they want to go downtown. I have a college-age student. I think that would be great for him. I have lived in cities where there is transit, and I think that will bring the town of Amherst current. I don't understand what it means to be 25 years too late. I think it should be done. I know I've heard residents say they're worried about vibration near the rail. Well, you can mitigate those issues by putting vibration probes in the ground and measuring it and to see what it's doing. Transit is all over this country. I think Buffalo and Western New York is behind, and I think this will bring us forward.
Ms. Dormer, you're going to begin with this next question. Has the Amherst Industrial Development Agency delivered on its promise to reduce the tax burden on Amherst homeowners?
Thank you for the question. Can I just go back for a second and just make a statement about what Mr. Davis just said?
I'm sorry, we don't allow crosstalk.
Okay.
You had the opportunity to answer this question, correct?
I did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like
Could
to?
you please repeat the question?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Has the Amherst IDA delivered on its promise to reduce the tax burden on Amherst homeowners?
So one of the things that we are looking at is the abatements that the developers have received, and that is in primary importance, and that would be a focus if I was elected to the Amherst Town Board. So I would say, in looking out for the Amherst residents' best interest, we need to consider, abatements and how that's not reflecting in helping out our residents. And that's how I would answer that question.
Mr. Davis, you are next. Yes. Has the Amherst Industrial Development Agency delivered on its promise to reduce the tax burden on Amherst homeowners?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not too sure. I know the IDA does do tax abatements for businesses, but I don't believe they've reduced taxes for homeowners because we did see our taxes increase. And a lot of that was due to prior administrations. There were lawsuits that the town had to take care of, and prices went up. I understand that people don't like taxes, but I have never known a time in the history of the world where prices went down. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that. So it could go down with the proper development, with the Costco's, the Dick's, when they pay more taxes to have their businesses in Amherst, it'll reduce our taxes. Projects like the LED street lighting project, it is saving $300,000 a month, an annual savings of $3 million, and that is a revenue generating project. So things like that, where we can own our assets instead of renting it, that will bring our tax assessments down.
Has the Amherst Industrial Development Agency delivered on its promise to reduce the tax burden on Amherst homeowners?
I don't believe so. And as Mr. Davis says, taxes have gone up. the building continues in Amherst, and the taxes continue to go up. They recently approved a project where the IDA had promoted that this property out in Amherst to be developed was paying $20,000 a year, and then the income from that was going to go up to $80,000 a year. And that's because they got a tax abatement. They should be paying $140,000 a year. That's worth $1.4 million over 10 years. That's all the tax abatement is going for. The size of that project, I believe, is not any relief or much relief to the taxpayers because it's added strain. It's added strain to the roads, to the sewers, to the police department, and I don't think that's worth the extra $60,000 a year. And again, our taxes keep going up. I just have to ask a question of Mr. Davis on the...
We don't allow crosstalk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
The next question will be answered first by Mr. Davis. Why hasn't the low income tax amount been raised in several years? Costs have gone up for the elderly.
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. It is hard out there. It is hard for elderly. I speak to elderly residents all the time. When you're not working and you're not making an income, it's tough. And I'm gonna have to face it one day. I hope I do face it one day. I hope to live long enough to see it. But I would do everything in my power to advocate for the elderly, to make Amherst more affordable. I think this senior center is a great example of what we try to do here in Amherst for our elderly community. I have parents who are elderly. My grandmother just recently passed, but I understand, I feel you, but I will say the town board isn't going to fix all of those issues. Can we address the low income tax? That is something that I would review. That is something I would definitely look at if I was elected.
I would agree with Mr. Davis. That's something that we definitely would have to look at. If that rate has not risen over several years, we have to address that issue because your dollars aren't worth as much as they are now. I would be a strong advocate so that anybody that's in their senior years, to help them as much as possible to be able to stay in this town, to stay in their home in this town.
Could you just go ahead and answer that again, please? Thank you.
Why hasn't the low income tax break amount been raised in several years? Costs have gone up for the elderly.
Exactly, yes. So I would agree with what was previously stated. I think the board would need to look at that and see what change and what impact we can have on that. I think we have to look at the state and federal level and how we can affect a change or try to advocate for our elderly. We, in just speaking with the seniors of our community, we know that the recent 11.4% tax increase has really affected their ability, the affordability of them to live in Amherst. So we absolutely need to put an emphasis on making sure that our seniors are supported and able to figure out how they can have a sustainable and quality of life in Amherst based on the increased debt and the increase of our 11.4% tax.
This next question will be answered first by Mr. Traeger. What is your vision for the Boulevard Mall site?
My vision is I'm very encouraged that Benderson has taken over that site, or taken over most of the site. They have a great history in the town of Amherst. They're a large corporation with a lot of assets, and I think that they have the ability to work with the town board. I think it's very important that we make sure that this is not a strain on both the residents of Amherst and Tonawanda, seeing that we border Tonawanda. And I think we absolutely have to make sure that any project like this is going to offer some relief to the taxpayers. But again, I'm very encouraged that Benderson has taken it over.
Next to answer is Ms. Dormer.
So my view on the Boulevard Mall is I too am encouraged that Benderson has taken over. They have a very positive track record in Amherst for the most part in their development. We, as a town council, would have to take, keep close tabs on how they follow through with infrastructure and what infrastructure requirements are involved in however they develop that area, but it is a high traffic, high commercial area, so we want to see it flourish. We want to see a great plan for that. We do believe Benderson will carry through with that.
Mr. Davis?
I want to see a mixed-use